What if I told you, you behave not according to reality itself, but you behave according to the mental picture that you have of reality. You respond and you react and you behave according to a particular idea that you have, your own personal idea. Now, you probably don't understand what that means. And you've probably heard the saying that your beliefs shape your reality. If you want to change how you view the world or how you change your results, you've got to change yourself first. By the end of this video, you're going to have a full understanding of what people actually mean. You're going to have a full understanding of what drives behavior. You're going to have a full understanding of why people behave the way that they do. You're going to have a full understanding to understand why two people can have the same experience, but two different reactions towards those experiences. And it's simply down to the mental picture, the image that they hold in their mind that's controlling everything about them. All right? Listen, without further ado, let's get the video started. Now, as I said, you don't behave according to reality. You behave according to the mental picture that you hold of reality, meaning we all have mental pictures, whether you like it or not. We all have a mental picture. And it's different. All of our mental pictures are different from each other's because we've all lived different lives, right? Now, what is a mental picture? A mental picture is simply, well, as you know, we like to think in pictures. And a mental picture, it can be classed as a belief, can be classed as an idea, it can be classed as a truth, because it's a mental picture that you've actually accepted as true. It's a mental picture that you've stored into your subconscious mind, right? Now, first things first, you're probably understanding, how do you behave according to the mental picture you hold of reality? But I'm going to give you an example, and this example will be able to make me lead on to the next, right? For starters, let's say you're walking through the streets of London, and you see a bear, a big grizzly bear. How are you going to act? Automatically, I'm going to tell you how you're going to act. Automatically, your body's going to go into fight or flight without you even thinking. You have no conscious faculty. Well, you do, but your conscious reasoning faculty is going to go out the window. And automatically, your body's going to go into fight or flight. Now, why is automatically your body going to go into fight or flight? Because your mind has data stored of a bear. It has a mental picture in its mind of a bear and what a bear is. Right? And that mental picture of a bear is simply dangerous, scary. It can kill me. It's survive, right? You can lose your life. You have a mental picture of a bear. So what happens is when you saw a bear, that mental picture then came up on the picture of your mind, and automatically your body moved into action. Automatically, without even realizing, automatically you started to feel fear. Automatically you started to feel scared. Automatically you started to feel all of these types of emotions, and your body just went into fight or flight mode without you even realizing. Why is that? It's not because of the bear itself, it's because of the mental picture that you have of the bear. It's how you view the bear. Because imagine now, and it sounds stupid, but imagine we had pet bears instead of pet cats. If you saw a pet bear just walking down the road in London, you wouldn't think anything of it. You would just walk past it, and you wouldn't really care, would you? Because the mental picture, the association, the representation that you have of the bear is nothing that's negative. It's nothing that's dangerous. It's nothing that's scary, right? It's simply positive because loads of people have bears in their home. I mean, loads of people have cats as pets and they're not really harmful. You don't hear a lot of stories of them being harmful, right? So this is how mental pictures, this is how you behave according to the mental picture you hold of reality and not reality itself. You simply didn't react to reality. You reacted to what you learned, the mental picture that you have that made you act in that specific type of way. And it was automatically without you even thinking. And this is why people behave in a way and they don't understand why they behave that way, because they don't understand how the mind works and they don't understand the particular idea or preconceived opinion or mental picture that they have on a particular thing. Right? Makes sense. So how are these pictures formed? How are these pictures formed? Well, first things first. These pictures are formed through childhood, right? Through when we're kids. Now, as you know, we have two minds, right? We have the conscious, and then we have the and we have the subconscious mind, right? When we're younger, our conscious mind is not fully developed, and all we have is subconscious, and all we have is the subconscious. And as you know, right? That's your body, and all we have is the subconscious. Now, as you know, we all have ideas already, right? We all have mental pictures of ourselves. We all have mental pictures of the world. We all have mental pictures of money. We all have mental pictures of love. We all have mental pictures of different things, right? And all of our mental pictures are different. But how are these mental pictures formed? They're simply formed through conditioning. Because us as humans, what are we meant to do? We're meant to survive, we're meant to live, we're meant to thrive in the world. And in order to survive, what do we have to do? We have to adapt to the world that we live in. And in order to adapt to the world that we live in, we have to learn the world that we live in. And we have to learn through other people that have lived before us, so we can understand what's good to do and what's not good to do, so we can survive, right? This is simply how pictures are formed. This is simply how some people have different ideas and some people don't, and why people believe different things and why some people don't. And it's simply down to this conditioning. So all of these mental pictures that we have in our mind are simply learned. And how are they learned? Simply through our environment. It's our environment, because no one was born with a self-image. No one was born with a self-esteem like, yeah, I'm confident, this and that, this and that. No one was born with that. No one was born with a picture of the world. No one was born with a picture of money. No one was born with what a perfect relationship might look like. None of us was born with these things. What did we have to do? We had to learn them. Now, where did we have to learn them from? From our environment, the people that's closest to us, right? Which is what our family, our friends, the people that used to look after us, our schools, our area, all of these things have a massive impact on the mental pictures that we have in our life right now. And we was just simply conditioned. That's all it is. Right? Because when we're younger, the conscious mind is not there. It's not fully developed. So everyone else's pictures of what they have of the world then turns into our pictures, and we then call it truth, because we're just learning from our environment. We're learning from those around us who have been born into the world before us. So we start to accept these things as truth, because some people have different ideas of love. That's why some people are toxic and some people aren't. It's simply due to their environment and the mental picture that they have of what a good relationship is meant to look like. You see, if you was born in an abusive household, or your parents are not married and you've never seen marriage, then how are you going to have a mental picture of marriage? Automatically, your mental picture is going to be of not married. And that's the reason why there's statistics that say if you're a family that is married, the children are going to end up following the same path, right? If you're in a household where it's a single parent household, your children are going to end up following the same path, because that's the mental picture that they've learned without them even realizing. And then that's what they've took on. And because it's been repeated for such a long period of time, it gets stored into their subconscious, which then turns normal, which then becomes a part of them, right? Because how is anything done? First, for example, how is everything done? Remember, this is the body, right? If you want to achieve something or you want to do something, it first starts with you being conscious of it. It first starts with you wanting to do something, desiring, I want to do this. It starts with you setting a goal, which is what you do with your conscious mind, right? So let's say you wanted to get fit. At the start, it's going to be difficult, because at the start, you want to. It's a goal that you've set, and now you're going to have to put the work in. So you're going to have to wake up earlier, you're going to have to go gym, you're going to have to do all of these things, all of these aspects, right? Now, when you do it for a long enough period of time, it then gets locked into the subconscious. So it gets passed down. Now, once it's in the subconscious, you're no longer using your conscious faculty, because it's automatic for you now. It's what you do on autopilot. It's become a part of you, because you've done it for a long period of time. It's like now it's become a part of you, which then does what? Which now pushes your body into action without you needing this conscious faculty of yours. All you needed was for it to be locked into the subconscious, which then moves your body into action. The same reason why when you saw the bear in London, well, you didn't actually, but when I gave the example of you seeing the bear in London and that mental picture that you had, your body automatically went into fight or flight mode, because it was your subconscious that took over, because it's the subconscious that's the automatic mind, the autopilot mind, the habitual mind, where all of your habits and all of your things are stored, where you just react, where you just respond, right? And the way that we respond to these certain things, the way that we respond to ourselves, the way that we respond to the world, the way that we respond to money, the way that we respond to our relationship is based on the mental picture that we have that's in the subconscious, not the mental picture that we have in the conscious. It has to go into the subconscious mind. It has to be repeated for a long enough period of time to be locked into the subconscious. So back to my thing, how is pictures formed? Repetition. Repetition, evidence, environment, repetition, and evidence. That's how you gain mental pictures of things, because it's like, how did you learn all of these things? How did you learn about money? Let's say you have a mental picture of money and you like to think of money. When you think of money, automatically you think in scarcity. Why is that? Because for a repeated long enough time, for a long enough period of time, you've kept repeating the same actions. You've kept seeing the same picture when it comes to money. Maybe when you was younger, your family kept saying, you know what, there's not enough money to go around. I don't have enough money today. I don't have enough money today. I don't have enough money today. So automatically now, because you've done that for a long period of time, remember now, that's your environment, that's your family. Then it's been repeated. And then now there's evidence, because now it's like there's no money. You've seen you can't buy a few things. You might go to school, the kids have got nice stuff. That's now turned into evidence, which is now turned into a mental picture that you have, because you've gone through it for a long period of time. You also need emotion, because now emotion is how you contact the subconscious as well. So through all of these 4 different aspects, you've now created a mental picture in your mind without you even realizing. But it wasn't yours in the first place, it was conditioned. You got conditioned to think like that. You got conditioned to think in a certain type of way of money. You got conditioned to think in a certain type of way of love. You got conditioned to think in a certain type of way of the world. It's the reason why some people halfway across the world are able to handle spice, and why some people halfway across the world ain't. It's the reason why some people half across the world are able to eat alligators and snakes, and some people half across the world ain't. It's simply because it's what they've learned. It's what's become normal. It's the picture that they've adopted and what they've learned through conditioning and programming through their environment. You see, and this is the part that gets most people. They don't understand that it's the mental picture that influences their behavior. It's the mental picture that automatically responds to your behavior. And I'm going to give you a clear example now of how this works when it comes to yourself, and why you need to have a really good self-image, or not a really good self-image, but like an adequate self-image if you want to achieve certain things or get certain things done, because your current self-image is not giving you the results that you want, right? Oh, cool. So as we know, the mind likes to think in pictures, right? As we know, the mind likes to think in pictures, and as we know, the mind is a goal-seeking mechanism. And a goal-seeking mechanism, and the goal is simply the pictures that we create, right? So remember, the mind is a goal-seeking mechanism. Now, the goal doesn't have to be anything, but the goal is simply our conscious mind. It's our conscious faculty, right? Right? So with our conscious mind, this is how we set goals. And because we think in pictures, it's the pictures that we create in our mind. So the pictures that we create in our mind, as you know, the mind tries to find a way to make it possible. It tries to find a way to stay on objective, right? It tries to stay on path with whatever pictures we're creating. So let me land, right? So when it comes to the self, when it comes to you, right? I'm gonna draw a line here. Let's say you're someone, we'll just use money for example, because money is easy to do, right? Let's say you're someone that makes 2K a month, right? That's you. That's the picture that you hold, right? That's the picture that you hold. That is you. But that picture is not just in the conscious, it's also in the subconscious. So it's your self-image, right? You have a self-image of someone that makes $2,000 a month, right? Let's say for someone, you're in a sales team. Your team hypes you up, it motivates you up, and you make, let's say you make $4,000. You make 4K, but the month's not over yet. Remember, the mind's a goal-seeking mechanism. The picture that you have in your mind is a 2K a month type of person, right? Automatically. Remember, the mind is a goal-seeking mechanism. So without you realizing, because remember, what happens, our pictures influence our behavior, how we think, the subconscious, that's a massive B. These Bs are always trying to come when I'm recording. The pictures that you create, the pictures in your mind are what's controlling you. Remember, this is the objective, the picture that you hold of yourself. This is why it's important to have a good self-image. Now, remember, if these pictures influence our behavior, what do you think is going to happen? Let's say here it's the 22nd and we've got 8 days left until the end of the month. Somehow, you're going to find a way, to go back down to 2K a month. Somehow. Why? Because you have a mental picture of your mind of someone that makes 2K a month. It's the reason why some people are able to win the lottery, and after they win the lottery, they go broke. In a matter of days, in a matter of months, they go broke because they haven't updated their self-image. It's the reason why some people are able to get massive amounts of money really fast and then they lose it rapidly because they didn't update their self-image, because the picture that they had of themselves was a particular type of person that only made this. It wasn't someone that made 4K. And because it's the pictures, remember, you behave according to the pictures you hold of reality. Because of the picture that is held in his subconscious mind, his body automatically puts him back en route, back on action to make $2,000 a month again, right? Now, I can give you another example. And this one may be a little bit better, right? We have someone, that's not dry. We have someone that throughout their whole life, right, all they've seen is just toxic relationships, or they're not married, or, toxic relationships, people cheating, whatnot, So they have a self-image of toxic relationships. That's their self-image. That's the picture that's in their subconscious, because that's all they've saw from birth and they haven't been able to update it, right? They get into a relationship. The guy's doing fine. He's doing well. He's amazing, right? They're happy. Meanwhile, he's not cheating, whatnot. Her mind is going to realize, hold on a minute, I have a mental picture of what relationships are meant to look like. My relationship is meant to be toxic. It's not meant to be happy. That's all I know. All I know is a toxic relationship. Without her even realizing, automatically, she's going to do something to ruin that. Automatically. She, him, whoever, do you get me, whatever, right? They're going to automatically do something without them even thinking. Remember, the conscious mind goes out of the window when the subconscious mind is in control, because it just takes over. It's emotion, because it has a mental picture of something. It's the same thing when you saw the bear. You had no conscious reason, in fact, you couldn't see it. Automatically, you went into fight or flight mode. It's the same thing when it comes to these things. It's the same thing. Automatically, they're going to do something that puts them back on path to a relationship being toxic. And as much as they don't like it, as much as they hate toxic relationships, and they have a goal of not being in a toxic relationship, because the picture that they hold here is distorted, this picture can't go down here. Why? Because they haven't updated the picture in the subconscious. They haven't done it for a long enough period of time to lock it into the mind. So what happens? This is why some people go in roller coaster rides. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, because the mental picture that they have of a particular type of thing hasn't been updated. This is why you need to have an adequate self-image when it comes to money, when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to the world, when it comes to yourself, because you can only act according to the picture that's locked into your subconscious mind. You can only act according to that, and it's not that, and that's the problem, and that's why some people find it difficult to change. That's why some people don't know why they act the way that they act, and it's simply down to do with the picture that they hold in their subconscious mind without them even realizing. It's down to their identity, it's down to the barrier, and that's the barrier that most people can never see. Why? Because it's locked in the subconscious, it's habitual, and they don't have an understanding of how their mind works. That's all it is. The mind is a goal-seeking mechanism that likes to hit goals, and we like to think in pictures. So when we have pictures, it needs to be locked into the subconscious to put the body into action, because that just makes everything easier. You're not fighting. You see, when you have a goal up here and it's only in the conscious mind, it's the reason why some people are always fighting. They're struggling. They're going to war, because these two are simply not in alignment. They have two different pictures. They have two different understandings of the same concept. Hence the reason why they're going through hell to get what they want. This is the reason why some people are able to change and why some people don't. This is what drives your behavior. This is why some people are able to do well in maths and some people ain't. This is the reason why some people are able to smash it. This is why people in the sales team, some people are able to do good and some people ain't able to do bad. And it's down to the pictures. It's down to the pictures that they have locked in the subconscious mind. Now you're probably wondering, okay, but how do I get in? Oh gosh, and you fell. How do I get into the subconscious? Hey, don't worry. I'll tell you now. And that's why I said this is a really good video. You're going to have a really good understanding of how we think in pictures and what drives behavior and why we act in a certain type of way. So it's like, when someone's acting in a certain type of way, you can just ask yourself, wow, like, I wonder what, like, oh shit, sorry for my language. I wonder what type of picture that they have when it comes to that, you know? That's why they're always scared when it comes to this. That's why they act like that when it comes to this, because they have a particular picture that they haven't updated, and it's not adequate. It's not adequate for living, right? Now, as I said, how was these pictures formed? These pictures were formed through learn. You learnt them, and anything that you can learn is anything you can unlearn. So all of these mental pictures, all of these ideas that you have of money, all these ideas that you have of a relationship, all these ideas that you have of whatever are simply just learned. Now listen, before I carry on, if you're struggling, you don't understand what pictures are creating your life that you want, or you're finding it hard to understand why you may see it in this type of way, or what type of pictures are stopping you getting to what you want, just DM me the word goals or DM me the word pictures, and we can have a conversation. I can see how I can help you out. All right, now it's simply the pictures, right? You can simply unlearn in the same way you can learn new pictures. So how do we get new pictures from the conscious to the self-image? How are we able to change this? How are we able to get our picture from here of what we want to get into the subconscious, which can make and push my life more into action? Well, remember, how is it done? First things first, how are pictures formed? Pictures are formed through environment. It's formed through repetition. It's born through evidence. It's born through also emotion as well, right? Now, people always ask me, how did you change, bro? How was you able to change so fast? How was you able to change, stop being on the roads and stop drug dealing? And how was you able to change and just go down this path? And this is simply the answer. I was able to update the picture that I had of a particular thing. I was able to update the picture that I had of myself. right? And the first step, and I know the first step, was changing my environment. That was the first step, because in my environment, all I knew was everyone that had money was drug dealers. Everyone that had money was all drug dealers and think people was on the road. Until I started to branch out. And I don't mean you don't have to know anyone. Just simply, you can go on, we have social media. Social media is a big thing. Like, am I still recording? Hopefully. Yeah, cool. Like, social media is a big thing. You can go and see anything. You can go and see people that's doing well. You can do your research on it. You can watch their videos. You can do anything. You can go on YouTube. You can just see how other people are living. I think that's also a great thing about social media, but it can also be very detrimental. But I was just doing research and I was seeing other people that was literally just like me, bro. People that's been to prison, people that's been to jail, living amazing lives, living legit lives with a lot of money that are drug dealers that I genuinely wanted. I changed my environment, bro. I literally switched my environment. I started to lock in and listen to these things all the time, which then leads to what? Repetition. I started to switch it all the time and it led to repetition. I started to listen to them all the time until it got to the point where it was like, I had enough evidence. To then go and say, do you know what? I can do this. This is possible. There's so many other people out there doing the same thing. There's so many other people out there that change their lives and that's living good lives that doesn't have to drug deal. They don't have to look over their back. They don't have to look over their life. They don't have to always worry about going to prison. They don't always have to worry about the police. They don't always have to worry. They're living good lives. I had enough evidence. I built enough evidence and I got emotionally involved in the idea. Emotion. Environment, repetition, evidence and emotion. I've got all of these things and I was able to update the mental picture that I had of myself. I was able to, just through my environment, through repetition, through evidence and through emotion, I was able to update these pictures, because affirmations is not enough. You can't just sit there and say, I'm a different person. I'm a different person. Your mind needs to see evidence, whether that's evidence through you or other people, but it needs to see some type of evidence to show, do you know what? This other picture that I have of myself is not adequate. I need to change it into something that's more adequate for me, that's more beneficial. Your mind has to have evidence. You need to find evidence to prove your claim, to update the picture that you have about a particular thing. That's why you need to branch out, go into new environments, meet new people, go and learn, go and research. Stop listening and surrounding yourself with the same things. This is why it's so key. Because it gives you enough evidence to change the picture that you have of a particular thing. Hence the reason why I was able to change the picture that I have of myself. Essentially then changing my results. Now I have a coaching business. Now I'm trading. I'm literally about to quit soon. I was able to change myself through these aspects, through environment, repetition, evidence, plus emotion. I got emotionally involved in the idea. I got emotionally involved. I got up every single day and I was like, you know what? I can do this. And it was at the conscious part of my mind. It was locked in. Remember? Because at the start, it's hard. And this is where it all happens. It all happens here. It all goes to here. It all goes to your conscious. So at the start, it's very difficult. At the start, it's very hard. At the start, it's very hard because you're going to see these things, I can't do that. They're not like me. They're different. They're no different than you. I had to consciously go through the phase until the point where it became habitual. Until the point where it was locked into my habitual mind. Until the point where it was locked into me and my subconscious. Until the point I was able to then say, do you know what? This is me. Until the point I was able to quit and say, do you know what, bro? I'm not trapping no more. I'm not selling drugs no more. I quit. I'm not doing it no more. I quit. I don't need to do it no more. Why am I going to do it when I can make the same money doing something else? It was that simple. But this is the problem. People get stuck. They get stuck with everything that they want to be, but don't do these things for a long enough period of time where it gets locked in to the subconscious, which then becomes a part of them to move their body into action. People find it difficult. They don't go through that phase. It's simply that simple. That's all you need to change the picture that you have of a particular thing. You need to change your environment. You need to repeat it. You need repeatable, and it needs to be evidence, and you need to have emotion involved. I'm going to give you one more step, which also helped me as well, updating my self-image, was meditating. Now, I don't mean meditating is not, you don't have to sit with your hands like this and do that. Don't let these people lie to you, right? I have a different version of meditating. I don't just breathe. I like to relax. I like to relax and I breathe in and out. I breathe. And then the person that I want to be, the person that I want to become, the things that I want to achieve, I simply just relax and think about those things. Because that's another way that you get into the subconscious mind, through relaxation and emotion. And I get emotionally involved in the idea. And by repeating that, I was able to update my self-image through relaxation, through changing my environment, through repetition, through evidence, and through emotion. That's how you can change yours. That's how you can change the picture of anything that you have. That's how you can change the picture of yourself. That's how you can change the picture of money. That's how you can change the picture of how you see things. That's how you can change the picture of anything. I literally just gave you the blueprint. Listen, now you have a full understanding of what drives behavior, what makes people change, how people can change, and what you can do to get with it. Now, like I said, if you're struggling to find the picture that's keeping you stuck, just DM me, or I can help you out and we can talk. Right? Listen, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you had a full understanding. Drop any comments of anything that you learned, and I appreciate you guys watching, man. Have a good night.